Hello there. Have you ever wanted to take your horse to the depths, but the game is like, no. As it turns out, Breath of the Wild really doesn't want you to... That's the wrong game. Try that again. Tears of the Kingdom really doesn't want you to take overworld entities into the depths, and vice versa, especially not your horse. I get it. We have cars, and rockets, and barrow-planes. Who cares about horses, right? Well, with how hard they restrict taking horses to the fun places, we care. I mean, they don't want you to take your horse to Sky Islands. They also don't want you to take your horse to the desert. And they really, really don't want you to take your horse to the depths. There are so many points preventing this from occurring, like to the point of redundancy. But, as I once said, since when have things like game mechanics ever stopped me from doing what I want? And overcoming everything and bringing my horse here still wasn't enough. So today, not only are we going to bring the horse here to the depths, we're also going to dig the horse deeper to the absolute lowest point, to the super depths. Roll the intro! Now before we can get to the deep dark horse magics, we gotta do some Shrience. Because I cannot emphasize how much this game tries to ensure that your horse does not enter the depths. We hired a whole team of plants to try and explain it. They couldn't. They also didn't try. Ordered a bunch of ficuses and not cacti. That was our first mistake. Ficuses. Fici? I should Google that. So in the previous video, we showed that entities are flagged or listed in some way as overworld and or depths entities. The first trigger that tries to stop us loads and unloads entities based on this and if Link is going into the depths or into the overworld. If you want more on this particular transition, there's the video up in the card, and link in the description. Probably. And that alone was going to be a massive nightmare to get past. Beyond that already impossible transition, there's a second transition that occurs globally at a flat -150. If this altitude sounds familiar, it's likely because this transition occurs at the exact point we do the Tobio's Hollow item dupe at. Go on, lie to me, tell me those two things aren't related. This point appears to unload everything and then load depths entities, as seen with this horse here. And if you're wondering, how do I have a horse pass the first trigger? Don't worry about it. Worry about it. But wait, there's more! If you act now, for no reason whatsoever, literally zero reason, your horse, 100%, should never have gotten this far. At -200, there is another lobotomy threshold. What's a lobotomy threshold? Well, it's the point that forces a horse to despawn whenever it touches it. Like altitude 900, lower for some Sky Islands, but globally at 900. Or, well, anywhere in the desert. It despawns the horse, and because you're in the same world, the horse spawns in as it should, back over there at its respawn point. But it is possible to force the horse beyond this point, setting their respawn coordinates on the other side. And when this happens, the horse will load back in and not despawn again, probably to avoid some kind of infinite loop or something. But when it loads in like this, it loses everything that makes it a horse. It cannot be ridden, it does not react to danger or pain, except for dying, and it doesn't fight back when you do anything to it. It gets a lobotomy when it spawns in these zones, hence lobotomy threshold. But obviously, we got past these thresholds. If you missed the last video and are confused how, wrong warps. Of course it was wrong warps. I refound horse wrong warps and sent them straight beyond it, setting their respawn coordinates on the other side. But it did not work for the depths. Turns out, after more testing, the lobotomy threshold combined with the global -150 reset prevents respawn coordinates from being set on the other side and ultimately just deletes the horse. So that begs the question, how? And for that, we've got Horse Wrong Warp Mark II. By bringing a horse into the Korok Forest to the Ninja Shrine that is accessible through the sky, we can use this for a wrong warp. Bring the horse to the Deku Tree area, go to the shrine, and then whistle and the horse will just walk through the fog and come to you. Koroks, what the heck? I demand you grab this horse and yeet it somewhere. Void out in the fog while riding the horse, and then save and reload will set the horse's respawn coordinates here safely. Then we head on down to -160-ish in Tobio's Hollow. This is a point that's in the depths past the global transition, but before the lobotomy point. This allows us to be inside the hollow with the horse beyond the first two transition points. From here, we're going to use a glitch called Guardless Active Shield, or GAS, because reasons. With a light, a laser, or a fan, respawn coordinates stop updating. How do GAS? Put fan on shield, put down shock emitter, hit shock emitter, and hold ZL and get your shield back. Done. Now all we have to do is get back to the Korok Forest without losing all our juice, so keep juicing on the way there. We dive on in, get our horse, and ride into the fog to wrong warp it. We can ride it, we can save, we can load, and now we have a depths flagged horse. Now the final hurdle is crossing the lobotomy point. Luckily, the horse just needs to hit -200, and then it's going to despawn. But if we just keep pushing it, eventually the respawn coordinates will appear on the other side, and we have one fresh, actually never frozen this time, lobotomized horse. And this horse can be dragged around with rockets or a barricade, actually an equestrivator, Mark 1. Now why do we keep defining each mark? Marketing, sweet, sweet marketing. This is just like a barricade, just without the freezing, because we don't need to freeze a lobotomized horse. It's not going anywhere. Scooping here is super easy, fly it over, drop it down, and behold! One horse in the depths. Now, it's lobotomized, so we can't really move it around, but the Huck Mark 1, it's a horse truck for those who missed it, will do well for getting the horse around. Isn't it beautiful, horse? All this gloom. But the depths itself wasn't good enough for me. Nintendo put up so many walls to stop us, well, floors. We're going to go one step further beyond. We're gonna keep digging. And we're gonna dig too deep. All with this horse. Now if you didn't know, there's a plane that exists below the depths. At around -3080, almost 2200 units deeper than the Spirit Temple, at the absolute bottom, there is a flat plane of gloom and darkness. Complete and total darkness. The Super Depths. Is this Kingdom Hearts? And taking a horse here seems like a pretty good plan, because there's no reason why we should get there, let alone a horse. We can use gas on a hydrant shield and rewind in order to generate an immense amount of lag that overloads collision and allows us to clip underground. Now we have to manage to clip the horse through the ground and then catch it in the void so it doesn't fall and turn into horse jam. In order for the horse to consistently clip through, we need some pretty thin ground, and these platforms here are actually really good for that. First, put the horse here and give it some extra padding under the ground so that it's not going to clip through. Then we go over and generate a whole bunch of lag to clip through the world, and Nintendo was nice enough, for some reason, to make hover stones just activate whenever you spawn them by shooting them with an arrow. So, make hover stone, land on it, fly up, and build a whole new equestrivator, positioned perfectly under where the horse is going to clip in. To get back inbounds, hover stone and slam it up against the ground and ascend through it. We can't just go through the ground itself, but we can go through more ground. My guess is that this side of the ground isn't a bottom. And lastly, we remove the horse safety restraint and move it over just above where the cage is. And we overload, down goes the horse, down goes Link, hover stone, and get that cage back. The magic of editing is nice. Makes us look like we know what we're doing, and not the countless attempts that failed. Running out of time on the hover stones, the horse not clipping. Oh man, we spent so long down here. But it's all downhill from here, or down void. Just waiting to drop 2,000 units. If you're concerned about the horse down here, worry not, my friends. As getting the horse back is way easier than it was getting it down here. I can just say stable hands are highly underpaid for sure, because they got down here, retrieved it, and reboarded our horse. Good as new, fully rebottomized too. But I don't know if it'll ever be the same. It saw some things. Now for those keeping track of why we did all this, it was all scientific research, shrine science. Ways to complete shrines and puzzles as impractically as possible. And this includes the blessing shrines. And the Labyrinth Blessing Shrine solutions involve taking Barry the Bear through all 9 labyrinths. 2 of them are done right now. Unfortunately, wrong warping a bear, which, mind you, was so much more annoying than a horse, deleted the bear. They just end up getting deleted whenever we try to forcibly wrong warp ourselves down here. So, getting a bear here is going to take more Shrience and a whole lot more horse magic. Yeah, we do that here too. But I really gotta go do shrines. Until I have another idea that derails me for an entire week again.